This is crazy. And now if you fast forward about a year later, I mean, you've got our new president coming in who's going to have full on committees dealing with crypto and blockchain. And so one thing I did learn a long time ago is if your mind's like a parachute, if it's closed, you don't really go anywhere and you can't really kind of die. And so about a year ago when Tony came to me, or I came to him with this idea about doing Revo, he said, this is something that could so well work on the blockchain. And I didn't understand blockchain, but now over the last year, I have gotten into it so much with AI and everything else. I actually wrote a book using AI, and that I think is so vitally important for people to now understand it, because it's the wave of the future. It's the way things are going. And I just wanted Tony to come on and share a little bit. And then at the end of our presentation, we have actually kind of a Christmas miracle, I call it, promotion that we're going to do that some of you are going to be able to get involved with, because I'm telling you where we're going with Revo and utilizing their tokens and everything that goes along with it. We're going to start really fast forwarding and accelerating what's going to happen in 2025. And I think you're all going to want to be a part of it. So I'll turn it over to Tony and let him kind of share with that. And then kind of at the end, we'll come back on and share more with you.
Yeah, I mean, I think, obviously any business, when it comes to creating a lot of success, timing and positioning is probably the most important thing. And not to say that you have to work hard, you have to have the network. Yeah, there's a lot of things that come together to create a very successful business. But I don't know if there's anything more important than timing and positioning. Certainly the actions you take, the work you put in are important. But if you're doing everything and it's not the right timing, you're not in the right position, there's nothing you can do to overcome that. And if you're at the right place, the right time, you're positioned where you need to be, I'm not saying you can't screw it up, but it's hard to. It's hard to screw it up. And that's the way with almost anything in the business world. I think one of the things God gifted me with, fortunately, was the ability to notice timing and positioning and realize when I'm at the right place at the right time, and then being able to take massive and immediate action. And when you look at what Paul was talking about with the new administration, and listen, I've never had a president come into the Oval Office and mail me a check on day one. I've made a lot of money whether there were Democrats in the Oval Office, and a lot of money whether there were Republicans in the Oval Office. It didn't really affect me one way or the other from a business standpoint. I've had a lot of success under both the blue and red administrations. When it comes to blockchain and cryptocurrency, though, time and positioning is really, really good right now. It's when you look at the bull run historically in Bitcoin with the halving, and you look at what the altcoins do following the halving and what Bitcoin does, we're positioning ourselves to have an amazing bull run. Now, past doesn't equal the future. I don't have a crystal ball, but I can tell you, it's easier to predict the future if you understand what's happened in the past. And it's shaping up to kind of look like it did in 2017, kind of like it did in 2021. And now it's looking that way in 2025, And so you're certainly lining yourself up for a potential at a big win. And what I tell people is, obviously realizing you're at the right place, the right time is important, but more important than that, you have to take massive and immediate action. And with Revo, we have the upside that's as big as about any industry. Transportation is as big as about any industry on the planet. And Revo doesn't just necessarily deal with rideshare. I mean, if you don't think we're going to end up delivering everything, you're crazy. And if we do what we're capable of, I mean, we could get into all kinds of transportation, shipping, logistics, air travel. Like, we can get into everything that deals with transportation, that deals with travel. And that is a multi-trillion-dollar industry if you're tapping into that. And so being able to position ourselves Yeah, medical delivery. I just saw that pop up. Yeah, I mean, pharmaceuticals. Like we did that. My restaurant delivery service got into pharmaceutical delivery for the hospitals, actually, and it was lucrative. Like mile per mile, bang for your buck. Like there was no food that we could pick up and deliver that would yield the type of returns that picking up a paper bag full of some pills for somebody that we were delivering from the hospital's pharmacy. Like they were paying us massive amounts of money to go pick that up. I'm sure it was insurance or whoever the hell was paying for it, but it was included, you know, and it was just like, man, we're making a lot of money. Our drivers are making a lot of money. Everybody's making a lot of money. So we're going to do that. We want to be able to encompass an entire industry, and we want to be able to shift an entire industry. And I always tell people, like when I started the restaurant delivery service, I think one thing about entrepreneurs, and I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but most entrepreneurs are what I would say delusional. I would call them delusional. Like they overvalue their business. They think it's worth, and I'm not talking about a little bit more. They think it's worth 10, 50, 20, 100x what it's actually worth. And that's okay. I think maybe that's one of the reasons a lot of entrepreneurs have a lot of success is they just see their business as bigger than it really is, or it's worth way more than it really is. If you ever watch Shark Tank, I'm kind of like the Mr. Wonderful of the entrepreneurial world. It's like, how much money are you making? Like, how much profit are you making? And if it's not much, then I don't think your business is worth that much. Now, that's not necessarily the end all be all. You know, Uber raised billions of dollars in funds and never showed a profit for like 10 years. And then they became extremely profitable. So you can do it that way. If you can raise billions of dollars and build your company, you can do it that way. I never wanted to do it that way. I wanted to build it and make it profitable almost instantly. And once it's profitable, we use the profits to grow it bigger and bigger and bigger. With restaurant delivery, my goal was always to sell out. Like I wasn't delusional. I'm not a typical entrepreneur in that sense where it's like, we're going to take out Uber. Like we were doing restaurant delivery. Uber Eats was starting out at that time, 2016. Uber was a $60 billion a year company. Okay. $60 billion a year. DoorDash was probably 30 billion at that time. And we were starting out in Topeka, Kansas, one city. We're doing a few $1,000s a day in deliveries. So I looked at it and said, you know what? I'm not going to beat those guys. What I will do is go into cities where they're not. And eventually they'll want to buy us. And that is what happened. Like we planned, say begin with the end in mind, we planned on exiting because we were going to have a real hard time competing with them. And I knew when they actually came into one of our cities, they came into Salina, Kansas. And we actually defended market share pretty well. But when we went into smaller cities and towns where they were already at, and it kind of planted their flag and dug in, it was tough for us to attack and to get market share. And I realized why in Salina, because we were looking at the ad spend and we were talking to one of our reps with the Facebook ads and the Google ads. Uber Eats came in to that area and their ad spend on a daily basis had a reach number, like the amount of people it could reach in Salina, Kansas was around 100,000 people. Why that's interesting. Salina, Kansas had a population of like 47,000 people. And so these guys are spending so much money on advertising that they're going to reach every person twice in that city. And so how does a small company compete with someone that has those kind of dollars they can put into play? And the answer is we probably don't. And so almost all these businesses that I start, it's like, all right, we'll exit, we'll sell out to one of the big players, and that's how it'll go. What blockchain does is changes the dynamic drastically. And what blockchain does in essence is it creates efficiencies in Web3 that Web 2 companies can't compete with. And you think about, some of the rides, and I know we share this all the time, but I'm going to share it again. And this is Jeff. Well, I talked to Jeff 2 days ago, I think. Sent this in, but he was driving for Uber. Guy takes a ride, tips Jeff $12. Guy ends up paying $92. Jeff's take home's $39. Jeff says, hey, download the REVO app. That same ride from Duluth to Forest Park, you do it on REVO. The guy does. Pays $77. So Uber, he paid $92 for the same ride. Now he pays $77. Now we had a deal where like $1 was the service fee. Now normally without a promotion or anything like that, Jeff would have brought home about $55. But with that promotion, $76. But either way, if you look at this and you're a rider and you can say, I'm going to pay $92 for this ride or $77, wouldn't we all choose to pay $77 for the same exact ride from A to B? I think we would. And then if you're the driver and you can do the exact same ride and make $40 or $55 or even $76, I think every driver chooses to take home more. See, this is the difference between what I was doing with my restaurant delivery, which was I'm not going to beat these guys. I'm not going to compete with these huge multi-billion-dollar companies, right? And so I'm looking at it going, I'll sell out to these guys. They'll want to buy me, and everything is going to be hunky-dory, right? Now, if you look at this number right here, like these numbers, on paper, we're gonna crush these guys. On paper, we're like Patrick Mahomes, and they're Deshaun Watson. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm Deshaun right now is the worst quarterback in the NFL according to the numbers, the stats. That doesn't mean Cleveland couldn't beat Kansas City, but they're probably not going to beat Kansas City. Like, let's be honest. At the end of the day, when you look on paper, Deshaun Watson is not going to beat Patrick Mahomes in a head-to-head battle. Their team's going to lose to the Chiefs. Probably. Could a miracle happen? Yes. That's how I looked at like restaurant delivery. We were Deshaun Watson and Uber Eats was Patrick Mahomes. Could we beat him? Maybe, man, but it would be a miracle. Everyone would be betting against us. And hopefully we roll the dice that day and we get our win and we beat them. I mean, but the odds are like probably way worse than that. We're probably like a high school team going up against Patrick Mahomes, probably way worse. But when you look at our data and every rider pays less, every driver earns more, and the drivers are getting cryptocurrency rewards. The people that recruited the riders and drivers are getting cryptocurrency rewards. When you look at it on paper, we are the heavy favorites. Like, it's not, you don't have to do any type of crazy algorithmic math. Like, you just go, hey, the guy paid 90, then he paid 70. The driver made 30, then he made 50. Like, for the exact same ride. We're better than them on paper. So this is probably the first time, was certainly the first time in my entrepreneurial career where I'm actually on the attack. like I'm not trying to sell out to Uber or DoorDash or any of these guys or Zoom on this R-Link meeting. We're going head to head with Zoom. Like, I'm not trying to sell out to these huge multi-billion-dollar corporations. I'm trying to put them out of business. And I truly believe that if society as a whole is given a choice, and they know on one hand, there's a company like Uber or Lyft that's raising their prices, charging them more and more for every ride. utilizing and mining their data. They know where you live. They know what airport you flew into. They know what hotel you're staying at. They know what restaurants you like to eat at, and they can monetize all that data. And I have a choice to ride with them. Overcharged, underpaid drivers. They kept cutting driver pay over and over. They used to pay drivers quite a bit. Now it's less and less and less. So they're charging me more, paying the drivers less, and mining all my data. The alternative is I pay less, the driver earns more, I keep all my data and have a choice to monetize it, and I get rewarded at the same time. I truly believe society will choose to control their data, pay less, have the drivers make more, and get rewarded. I would be surprised if someone didn't, other than like Uber's CEO or something. Maybe they'd be like, I got to take an Uber or whatever. But it's like, dude, even Uber's CEO, it's like if he's, wants to save money, like why wouldn't he take a REVO? So at the end of the day, it's the first time in my entrepreneurial career where I'm actually on the offense. Like I'm going on the attack. I'm Patrick Mahomes going up against Deshaun Watson. Could they beat me? Maybe, but should they? Probably not. On paper, I'm just going to destroy them. And it's just a matter of time. Now, there's a lot of work that needs to be done. There's a lot of things that have to get ironed out. But at the end of the day, the simple truth is in our favor. Every rider pays less. Every driver earns more. Every ride, there's rewards. We're going to win this game. It's just a matter of time. Now, the more community members we can build, the more community members we can bring on board, the more community members we can enroll in this vision, the faster we're going to just straight smoke check the Ubers and the Lyfts of the world. Like we will literally punch them right in the face. Like it will be viral once it gets that tipping point, and it'll be interesting to see them. I think it'll be similar to what happened with Blockbuster and Netflix. Like all of a sudden, like why on earth would I go rent a video? Like you can't anymore. Like it's over. Like I used to go get VHS tapes when I was a kid, man. I'd go in and pick out the tape or whatever and take it. We used to do it at the grocery store in my hometown. We had a little movie area back in Dillon's. It was a Kroger bought Dillon's. I guess back then that Kroger didn't own them. It was just Dillon's. It was a local kind of grocery store in the state of Kansas. And I would go into the back room and pick out a video and watch it. Now it's like, what movie you want to watch? We'll just stream it. Like just put it on. And so I truly believe like some of your kids, some of your grandkids, when you talk to them about Uber, they're going to be, wait a minute. There was a company that controlled all your data and they knew all the information about where you were riding and who you were riding with and all that stuff. Like they knew all that. Like, why didn't they have blockchain where you owned everything and you controlled everything? Well, we didn't have the technology. It wasn't there yet, like it won't compute to them that wait a minute, they kept cutting the cost of the drivers. How could they do that? Didn't the drivers get to vote on that? Didn't they have ownership? Weren't they part of the community? Wouldn't they have to vote to cut their? Well, nah, it's just a corporation. Corporation makes the decision, done deal. So we're adding more and more. Actually, the 3-branch voting is coming. The 3-branch voting is coming. It's gonna change the way we vote on blockchain. It'll be the first 3-branch governance blockchain consensus in history. You'll have the node owners getting to vote, the coin holders getting to vote. I think it'll end up being every 100,000 coins you hold, you'll get 1 vote, and then the users. For every $10 you spend on a ride, you get 1 vote as a rider. For every $10 you earn as a driver, you get a vote. And it'll add up. And the 3 branches of governance, if the node owners vote one way and the coin holders agree with them, and then the drivers and the riders say, screw that, we're not voting for that, then boom, no consensus. It won't pass. If all 3 branches vote, yeah, let's do that, then it passes. Talk about community ownership. Talk about full decentralization. That's where we're headed. Everyone's going to have a voice. Anyone that's a part of the community is going to have a voice. And Uber's never going to do that. That's what, I don't know how they compete. They're never going to let you have your data. They're never going to let you choose how much you get paid or how much the pricing is. They're never going to do that. The community is going to be tough to compete with because we don't have shareholders to answer to. We don't have huge corporations with, 70,000 employees. We can be lean and mean. We can use blockchain technology to create efficiencies, and we can be the heavy favorite going into this game. So that's really what I wanted to share with you guys. I know we've got a huge early Christmas promotion, so I want to turn it back over and bring Paul on so he can share kind of what the promo is. But certainly every one of you is at the right place at the right time.
So Tony, can you just share maybe just a tiny little bit about, like, most of the people that are on here understand probably node ownership and things of that, but just in case they don't, like what owning a node does for you, what the value in it is?
Yeah, I mean, a node owner is basically helping us run the network. It's what runs blockchains. A node on the network, it's like a Bitcoin miner is a Bitcoin mining node. You're running the blockchain for Bitcoin. And when you run those nodes, you get Bitcoin as rewards. If you run REVO nodes, you're helping the REVO blockchain work. And you get REVO tokens as a reward, about 3,000 per day per node that you're running. So I know I run 4,000 REVO nodes every day. And so I get a lot of tokens, millions of tokens every single day for running those nodes and helping to run the network. And so anyone that wants to purchase a node, you can certainly do that. Whoever invited you onto the call tonight can send you a link to sign up for free. There's a shopping cart where you can kind of check out the different nodes and the different prices. And I think what are the REVO nodes going for right now? I guess you can share if you wanted to, right?
I don't even know. Like, I know last time I checked, I think they were at 4,600.
Okay. Yeah. So 4,600. Let me click shop. I'm actually going into the shopping cart too. If you
can you see my screen right now?
I can, yeah.
So just so those of you that know, or you haven't had an opportunity to get a node, or if you have already gotten a node, I mean, I'm telling you, I really truly believe with some of the things that have happened over the last 30 days is that we're about to really, for lack of a better word, start revving up our action. And, I mean, our goal is to make it so that you can start using Rev tokens to buy rides very, very quickly. I mean, I'm working on that as hard as I possibly can right now. I know Tony's working on, helping us get the rewards. So our drivers, every time they do a ride, they get rewards. Every time our clients do a ride, they get rewards. And then also we're working towards making the value of these tokens go up. So 2025, I think it's going to be the perfect storm in a good way, not a bad way. As in everything comes together. It may take another 90 days, but over the next 90 days, if you do buy a node, if you like the promotion that Tony's actually helped put together is if you buy a REVO node, you're going to get 100,000 extra tokens. And so you'll get the node and you'll start having that produce tokens on a daily basis. I mean, if for a month's time, if you have 30 days times 3,000 tokens a day times, let's just do the math. That's an extra 90,000 tokens for the month. We're going to give you over a month's worth of tokens just for buying a node. And then if you sell one, it's going to be the same thing. You're going to get an extra 100,000 tokens. So we can track all of that. Our goal is for no one to have coal this year. But listen, we can't guarantee it. We can't, tell you this is going to happen. But I mean, if that token goes up, and Tony, maybe you can tell some of the background, just even right now, if you look at the market and what's going on with like XRP, and I mean, just even Bitcoin in the last 2 weeks, like has gone from what was it? I don't even know what it was about a month ago.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's quite a bit higher. Like it was in the 68,000 range, maybe a month ago. 6 months ago, September was in the 53,000 range. A year ago, it was in the 40,000 range, then obviously you go back,
Right.
5 years ago. It was $5,000 a token, whatever, 95,000 and change today. But, our last big project, Gala Games was the, the same developers, the same kind of team that built the blockchain, but they're way better now than they were back then. Certainly they made a ton of mistakes that we've ironed out and we've learned.
And they didn't, I always tell people they didn't have us.
They definitely didn't have us, but at the end of the day, they were trading 87 cents per token and they were doing $3 to $4 billion a day in trading volume. I watched a couple of my buddies make 40, 50 million bucks. I watched a couple other buddies make $4.3 billion dollars, which is ridiculous, but I watched it happen. And, we've done more revenue in our first 4 months than Gala did in their first 4 years. And so again, timing and positioning is everything. I think we're setting up for massive amounts of success. And at the end of the day, I think a promotion like this, how cool would it be? And again, I don't have a crystal ball. I can't guarantee anything, but what if we did what Gala did? What if we had 87 cents with $4 billion a day in trading and you bought a node today and you got 100,000 tokens and 8 months from now, we're, trading $3-4 billion a day and you sold those 100,000 tokens and got $87,000 cash, like into your bank account. You wired it out from Coinbase or whatever. And it was just because you got a promotion where you could get 100,000. What if you sold 10 nodes to people and you got, it's 1 million tokens. That's $870,000 if we hit 87 cents. Imagine that. I mean, how crazy is that? But the blockchain space, that's just normal. Like, I know it's hard to fathom. Most deals never pan out. Most deals are going to be zero. But at the end of the day, when they hit, I always tell people, if I take a company public, I'm trying to get 5 to 10x on my EBITDA. In the blockchain, I'm trying to get 500 to 1,000x on anything that I put into it. And it doesn't seem logical. And maybe it's not logical. But all markets are irrational. Like, all traditional markets are irrational. Blockchain and crypto markets are uber irrational. And I would call them REVO irrational now. But at the end of the day, what I mean by that is there were days in 2021 when Gala Games had a higher market cap than Tesla Motors did. And how you figure out a market cap, if you're not into the markets, like Tesla has so many shares of stock out. And, if you have 1 million shares of stock and your stock price is $1, then you've got $1 million market cap. If your stock price goes to $10, you have a 10 million, $100, $100 million, $1,000, you got $1 billion market cap. And so that's how many shares of stock are out. What's the price per share? In cryptocurrency, you look at how many coins, how many tokens are out there in the world, and what's the price of them. And so if you have 1 billion tokens at $1, it's $1 billion. If you have 50 billion tokens, which most world products have 50 billion tokens, if it's $1, it's a $50 billion market cap. Now, Gala logically had no business having a bigger market cap than Tesla. It didn't. Wasn't logical, wasn't rational, had no business being higher than Tesla's market cap. And that's all irrelevant. The only thing that's relevant is it was higher. It had a certain amount of tokens and they were trading for 87 cents each, and $4 billion a day were going in and buying those tokens. And whether it should be that high or not is irrelevant. If you're holding those tokens, you're excited that it is that high. Again, like, whether you think it should be or not, completely irrelevant. The market thought it should be. People were willing to pay that price for that token over and over and over. And so here's the cool thing I think about blockchain, about cryptocurrency, about where we're at. And I'll kind of wrap up my piece with this and turn it over. I've got another meeting here in, I guess, 10 o'clock my time up in Puerto Rico, 10 minutes. Yeah. So when you look at the upside in crypto, I always tell people, like, it's certainly a high risk place to play, but the rewards, it's almost like Powerball and Mega Millions, but the odds are far, far better to win in this game than to win a Powerball or a Mega Millions. And again, I don't have a crystal ball. I can't tell you this, I can't tell you that, but I can tell you each and every one of us as community members can have a positive impact on our chances and our odds to win. And the token, you can use this token to take rides. It's coming. It's coming. We're working on all the utility. Eventually, you'll be able to use it to buy steak. You'll be able to use it to pay for your meeting software every month. All the tokens will be pretty much interchangeable because you'll be able to trade them through Switch. You won't even need to know it's happening. You'll just go to a grow farm and use your REVO tokens and buy food. Behind the scenes, Switch will take your REVO tokens, buy grow tokens, and then give you your steak. You don't need to know that that's happened. It's just going to happen.
Right.
And so our timing and positioning is perfect. And I do truly believe that our window's probably about 8 to 10 months here. That's the other thing that I think I love about this isn't something where it's like, hey, we'll see where we end up in 5 years. It's like, we'll see where we end up next summer. Like, it's coming, and it's coming quickly. So I would tell you, if you're interested in moving forward, if you're interested in getting nodes, now's the time. Like, now's the time to start printing those tokens. Now's the time, if we're going to give you 100,000 Rev tokens, take it. Like, take advantage of it. Because at the end of the day, like I said, markets are going to be irrational, but the crypto markets are far more irrational than a traditional market. And that's a good thing for each and every one of us.
And the good thing for us, though, too, is we have a rational business behind it. You know, it's like, it's a real business that we're growing every single day. We did more rides this month than we did last month. Our revenue is better this month than it was last month. And as we go up with our revenue, our costs aren't going to go up.
Yeah.
Like, you know, utilizing the node network and all the other things that go along with it. Like, in the beginning with a lot of companies, you watch their expenses go up as their revenue goes up, and it takes a long time for them to do it.
Sure.
6 months from now, our expenses won't be any more than what they are now, because we don't need all those people to run it. And one of the things I love using the comparison is, I know one of these major companies in rideshare has 33,000 employees with an average salary of $77,000. I tell our staff we're never going to need to have that many people. And so they tell me, well, then we should be able to have the rest of that money go into their pockets. I'm just kidding. They don't say that. And I hope they do. But it's like, what we're doing is we're building something that's here for the long term. It's not going to be some pump and dump or some, ICO where the coin thing goes through the roof and then it goes away. This is a viable long-term business that, we'll be here long after what they're doing. We're going to institute, the delivery is coming. We're working on that right now. And the model that we have for the delivery is going to blow the rest of these other companies out of the water, because we're going to put all the money that restaurants end up paying right now out to these delivery companies back in their pockets. Like, they're never going to want to do business with anyone but us. So I'll let Tony get on to his next meeting, but we'll let you go. But the thing about it is this promotion, this Christmas miracle or whatever we're calling it, is going to go through midnight on December 11th. That's what we decided, right?
That's right.
So I would get it done tonight. But if you have people that you want to show this video to, I'll have this up. I'm going to try to get it up in the next 15 to 20 minutes before I leave for what I have to go to. But this is just the beginning. Like, right now, at the end of the year, most people, they always say now is, when you're doing these network marketing, direct sales, now is the time to work. I'm telling you, now is really the time to work, because between R-Link and REVO, I think that we have the best two, services, products, whatever you want to call them, within this whole eco and atmosphere. And after last weekend in Vegas and people taking rides and seeing how it worked, there should be nothing more than people getting after it. So we'll let you go. Thanks, Tony, for jumping on with us.
Thanks, buddy.
Get those nodes ready to go. Thanks, guys. Have a great night.